celebrate Filipino-American Heritage Month in October in Carson, Assemblymember Warren Tani organized a reception at kung saan po dun sa reception na yun, pinakilala niya sa atin ang ating kababayan, Justice nominee Tani Cantil-Sakauye. Let's watch this. In his introduction for Sakauye, Furutani joked about Democrats and Republicans.
Some information comes out, something happened, it just spreads through the Capitol like crazy. So I don't have a love-hate relationship with the governor. I have basically a hate-hate relationship with the governor. I'm a real dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. We're fighting with him all the time around things. But there was this whisper that a person was going to be appointed to take Ron George's place, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and her name was Tani Cantil-Sakauye. So immediately my staff, and this is a problem I have, and I want to introduce another one of them, Andrew Medina, who's the staff of the Asian Pacific Legislative Caucus that I chair. But my chief of staff, who has since gone on to the dark side, he's now a lobbyist, was Filipino-American, Dean Grafilo. And Dean had this thing that anybody that was famous or remotely famous, he swore was Filipino or part Filipino. The lead guitarist in Metallica is Filipino, Warren, and just on and on. And then we hired Leilani, and then she carried on the same thing. Any famous person she knows has got to be part Filipino at least. And then Andrew, the same thing. So I said, wait a minute. Her last name, I think, is Japanese. So what are you talking about? And then, of course, we all assumed, except the logic didn't quite connect because she was being nominated by Governor Schwarzenegger. I said, wait a minute, if she is Filipino-American, all Filipinos are Democrats. She can't be a Republican. We refused to accept it. We finally embraced all of it and said, what an honor for our collective communities. And doggone it, put your partisan BS, Warren, just put it aside, because this is an opportunity that is unparalleled by anything in our history.
And as Sakauye recalled growing up on the fields, joining Filipino-American beauty pageants, and the strength she got from the women in her lives, the governor's nominee to the highest court also shared the day she found her voice.
And I will tell you that my Filipino ancestry is an incredible source of strength for me. When I entered the law 25, 26 years ago as a new lawyer, I was really a very unlikely lawyer. I came from a large Filipino family. I was the youngest. I was the girl, a girl in the youngest. I never questioned authority. I never spoke back. I never raised my voice. I was a pleaser. I did everything I could to keep peace in the family. You know, now that's not exactly the resume or the curriculum vitae for a prosecutor. You don't go into court being a pleaser. You're not a litigator. You're not in trial when you can't raise your voice. So for the first 6 months of my career, I realized at trial that I could never fully get my voice out because the attorneys would constantly interrupt me. And in those days, the attorneys were primarily male, primarily Caucasian, not all, but mostly male. And you didn't see very many female trial attorneys, and you saw no Asian female trial attorneys. And so when I would come into court, I would always be asked, are you the court reporter? Are you the runner? Are you the file clerk? And I also learned, as I said earlier, that I could never find my voice because I was raised in a different environment than I was as a professional, as a young professional. And then one day, I found my voice. What happened was I was in court and I was arguing a case and the defense attorney interrupted me and I stopped. And of course I listened to him. And then a few minutes later I thought, I am going to interrupt him. That was an unusual thought for a young Filipina. So I started talking over him like this. And he turned to me. Thank you. He turned to me. The judge turned to me. Everyone turned to me. And he said, "Judge, she's interrupting me." And of course, I found my voice. "He interrupted me!" And then pretty soon, instead of having 25-year-olds or older arguing a case, we're pointing at each other, and I'm accusing him of interrupting me and always interrupting me, and he's then accusing me of being rude, and we are at it. And the judge is there, and he smiles, and he says, "I believe, Ms. Cantil, you are right. You may proceed." And from then on, I found my voice. And I say that story to you because what I had learned as growing up in my family and going to all the Filipino functions was my voice. It was always inside of me. It was something that many of you leaders in the community, you had given me and many people like me as a gift growing up.
And because no Filipino gathering is complete without dancing and singing, Kayamanan ng Lahi was on hand to provide entertainment, even teaching the two Filipino achievers how to dance the tinikling.